we can start right at the top of the agenda with item number 2. Any public appearances or public emailed questions?
I have no emailed questions. Chad, is there anybody over at City Hall?
There's no one present.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then we can move right into item number 3 on the agenda, approval of the minutes, and we will need a motion.
A motion to approve the minutes.
I will second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the minutes before we go to a vote? All right, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed, no? Motion passes. And moving right along to item number 4 on the agenda, the treasurer's report.
All right, so you've got the overview on the register. I'll just touch on a couple of things on the register first. The good news is that if you look in the revenue section, we've got a new account that is CARES Act funding. So we've received $29,000 in CARES Act reimbursement. And that is, currently you'll see some accounts that are overspent a little bit or look like they're going to be overspent. We just realized today that what finance has done has, they did this as a budget amendment. So each of the accounts in which we spent CARES Act funding, we will be adjusting what the budgeted amount was. So we just found that out today. So you don't have that yet, but next month we'll see some of the accounts, I think most notably $290 for service contracts. That's where we were paying for the extra cleaning service. Mm-hmm. So that budgeted amount will go up, I think, to $141,000. So it will cover some of what we've spent, and then I think 340 also sees quite a bit of a jump. But so the accounts will be more accurate next month.
Yeah.
But the funding came in, which was fantastic. We were happy to see that. We knew the request had gone out, but it's nice to see it actually accounted for. In the register, a couple of things I wanted to touch on. We spent quite a bit in 340 this month, so that's operating supplies. There are a couple of things in there. We had the staff in service, so you'll see, we did lunch, we did gift bags, that kind of thing. So a lot of that came out this month. You'll also see a coordinated order with South Central. That's something we typically will do twice a year. That's where we buy our RFID tags for our materials. And then we get like envelopes for return notices, overdue notices, jump drives, kind of all manner of things. They decided to only do one order instead of 2 this year. So that one is bigger than usual due to that. And then you'll also see one for Midwest Barcoding Solutions. Those are zebra printer labels. Those are our spine labels. And we buy those in bulk. There's only one type of label that will go with our printers because they are UV resistant, I guess. I don't know if that's the right term, but they don't fade in sunlight. Our original spine labels had a heck of a time, like in the teen room where there's a lot of sunshine. They just kind of faded out to nothing. So South Central did a lot of research on labels that wouldn't fade, but that means we do have to buy a specific type of label to go in the machine. So we stocked up on that. Jenny found us a new supplier, which is fantastic because the old one was real hard to deal with. So yeah, we're happy about that, but that was kind of an expense. I'll also point out our MG&E bill in account 365. This is good news, but news I don't exactly understand. Our power bills have been, they were drastically low when we were closed in March and in April. They have not rebounded to normal levels, and I know that we're not open to the public, but we are still here all of the hours that we would be open to the public. So we still have the lights on. We're still doing things. I'm not entirely sure why that hasn't rebounded. We're typically paying $7,000 to $8,000 a month, and we are now since we closed, we've been around 4,000, 5,000. Kevin doesn't fully understand this. Jenny doesn't fully understand this. I don't fully understand this. We're just kind of keeping an eye on it to see what's happening. when we have patrons here, they're using the PCs a lot more. They're plugging in their own devices a lot more. But I don't feel like that should be a $3,000 a month difference.
Yeah.
So something we're keeping an eye on, but I can't fully explain right now. It's in our favor, so that's great. Who knows?
Evening hours? I mean, would that make a difference?
No, because staff are here until 9 p.m. The sorter's not running. The sorter's not hooked up to the book drop. That might be a little bit of it. The solar's back working. I mean, it could be it's got to be a combination of all of these things. But it's saving us money right now, so it's great. I do expect at some point that's going to go back up to what we would call normal, which would be $7,000 or $8,000 a month.
Does it make any sense at all to actually have somebody reach out to MGD and ask them if they know what's going on? And the only reason I say that is we'd hate to get a surprise, like they screwed up billing or something, and then we get a big allocation then in January or something.
It might be, yeah. I know Kevin has talked to MGD in the past and kind of been told, because he and I were discussing, like, is patron computer use enough to, and he said that he's been told by MGD in the past that really the only thing that you could see a really significant change would be the HVAC system.
Yeah.
And we have done some repairs to that recently. So but those are pretty recent, so it wouldn't account for the whole thing. But yeah, I'll talk to Kevin about if it would be worth having somebody from MGD take a look.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to get hit 6 months from now with a giant bill. Yeah, that would be bad. Did anybody have questions about the register or the overview? All right, then we should approve both of those together.
All right, so we'll need a motion to approve the October financial overview and the October register.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Any discussion? No, then let's vote. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
And the motion passes. Moving along to item number 5, unfinished business. I see that we have none at the moment, but anything related to unfinished business, or should I move right along?
Move right along.
All right. Item number 6, new business, and 6A, the DCLS annual contract.
All right. So this is something that we sign every year. Comes from Dane County Library Service. They are the entity that takes all of the cross-municipal and cross-township use of libraries, and for over 3 years, as is spelled out in the contract, and they figure out what everybody owes each other, so we don't end up paying each library back and forth. We just do it through Dane County. This is very good news for us this year. We're up to a payment of $83,300. The history of this payment is that when we first became a library, we were paying quite a bit of money into this because we had more people using other libraries, and fewer people from other municipalities using our library. So that has turned over. The last time we had to make a payment for this was in 2016. I just went back today and pulled all of the numbers because I just wanted to see kind of what the progression was. So we in 2012 were paying $165,000 a year. That flipped over in 2017. We got our first payment of $12,000, and then it's gone up. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but we're up to $83,000 this year. I will also say this is based on usage numbers, which are going to be real wonky for the next couple of years because of closures. I think we don't really know what's going to happen. I think there's a good chance that we'll just throw out 2020 as a number, but 2021 is not probably going to be great either. So I think there's going to have to be some discussions amongst all the libraries and Dane County to see what happens. This number can be really high for some other libraries, meaning that they depend on it a lot. I feel like we're in a really good place that we're getting funds, but it's not so much that if it went away, we couldn't survive. So I'm kind of pleased about where we sit right now, but I don't know what will happen in the next couple of years. There is one error on this, and that is the signator. For some reason, it says that the secretary of the library board should sign. I reached out to Tracy because we haven't had a secretary in years, and she said that should actually be my signature. So it'll be Stephen and I that sign it. Does anybody have questions about this? There is a nice little summary right at the bottom that says what we're reimbursed for services and then the facility fee. It separates those two things out. But yeah, this is good news for us.
Yeah, great news.
Any questions? If not, then we should vote on this as well.
All right. Need a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, we'll move to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, no. Motion passes. And then, Wendy, I imagine you need me to sign this and
Yep,
email it
scan
over?
it. Yep,
Over to
that'd be
you.
great.
Okay, we'll do.
Perfect.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 6B, 2021 closure dates.
All right, so this is the time of year that we have to talk about when holidays fall in 2021. We're looking at next year, the 4th of July is on a Sunday, so we will observe it on Monday, so we close it on the 5th. And then when we look at the Christmas holidays next year, they fall on a Friday, Saturday, I believe, which, because our staff work every third weekend, means that we can't staff the library the week around Christmas if people are getting paid for both Friday and Saturday and needing another day off. So typically, and this is what we're doing this year as well, we're closed for 4 days in a row, and that takes care of everybody getting their paid time off without sort of making it so that we can't function. So next year it would be 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. And we've looked at schedules and we think we can make that work. And again, it's what we're doing this year as well. But I always, if it's outside of the normal policy closures, I always like to have the board approve that. Oh, and then we should talk about in-services as well. So that is always the first Wednesday of May and the first Wednesday of November. Let me grab those two dates. I think it's May the 5th. Yep, May the 5th. And November the 3rd. And I think that's everything that we need to approve. Everything else is on the policy personnel manual closure schedule.
All
Does
right.
anybody have any concerns about those dates?
No.
All right, we should vote to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2021 closure dates.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Questions? We'll move to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. And the motion passes. Okay, item 7, President Report. Just a couple of comments. My youngest daughter has been a very good customer of the Fitchburg Library as of late. I think I mentioned maybe back in October that we first tested that process. I always knew she could read more than Instagram, but she's been reading a lot of books lately. So I'm
Good.
threatening her to maybe come to one of these meetings and give a book report. But she said that it might be more of a public service announcement to let everybody know that it is possible to do virtual school and still find time to read. So anyway, that's from the community. It's what you're doing there is making an impact. So thank you for that.
Glad to hear it.
A couple things. Number one, I just, it's December now, so it's that time to sort of reflect on the year. And I just want to say thank you to the board. your engagement this year, and everything that you've done and stayed connected even during these weird times and in our virtual lives these days. So that's number one. Number two, I want to say thank you to Wendy, Jenny, Chad, Kevin, and all the staff for everything that you guys have done this year. At work, sometimes we do this thing, a star and a wish for the year. So the star kind of like, what's a standout thing you want to recognize, and a wish maybe something you wish could have gone differently or better. So I'll just say, on the star side for the board, I really appreciated how we worked through the review process this year and the willingness to kind of change how we do it and even think about improvements for next year. So that kind of goes back to the engagement part. I really just have appreciated working with all of you. And then on the library side for Wendy and team, just everything you've done to keep as many services available for people and for our community, while at the same time thinking about keeping the community safe and keeping the staff safe. It's a hard balance to strike. I think you all have done an amazing job of it. So those would be my stars for the year. My wish is no surprise. I wish we didn't have to be virtual. I wish we were able to do more, but that's not where we're at right now. That said, I'm super optimistic about 2021 and where we're headed. So thank you again. I just want to share that and say I hope everybody has a chance to enjoy the holiday season and take time off and connect with family, friends, and loved ones. So that's it for me on the president report. We can move right along to item 8, the library director report.
Well, let me second what Stephen just said. Thank you to all of you for your support this year. It's been a hard one, and there's been a lot of decisions that I never thought we would have to make. We were just talking yesterday. We hit the 9-month anniversary of the library being closed, and we were just talking about how 3 days before we closed the library, we were all adamant that we would never close the library because we're a community resource, and then everything went haywire. So I'm also very thankful that the staff have just stepped up to do everything we can to provide as many services as possible. Everybody's been very flexible and very good about keeping each other safe. So yeah, I feel like we've done the best we can with a year that was not great. I did want to talk about board meetings. I, in a fit of optimism, reserved the conference room for board meetings all of next year. I barely remembered how to use the software. It's been so long. So I have no thought that we're actually going to be using it for the first, I'm guessing, at least half of the year. But I think we'll just kind of play that by ear and see how vaccinations go and when we think we're going to open the library and all that kind of thing. So I think we just plan on Zoom for probably through June at least. And if things change, we can always kind of change gears as we go. Does that sound like a good plan to everybody? Okay. Real excited to announce we completed our 12,000th curbside pickup, I think late last week. So things are going well. The structures that Kevin built to cover the tables have worked out very well also. So we're bagging all the items. They're going out there. They're being picked up within 2 hours. And we're not having issues. We've had some snow recently. We were able to work through that without a problem. So the winterizing process has gone well. Let's see. Oh, so we talked last month about the PA system at the library that has been malfunctioning. I came back from my vacation and noticed 3 days in that it wasn't making weird noises or crackling at all. And I finally looked into it today and it's stopped working at all. So Kevin and I are going to do some testing. The real bad news is that we got our first quote back on a replacement system. And I think I tried to explain this last month. I'm sure I didn't do it well. This is not really my forte. But with a PA system, you can either have speakers that have amplifiers, so it requires not very much power in the wiring because each of the speaker has an amplifier. or you can have speakers without amplifiers, meaning that you have to bring the amplification from the IT closet, which requires more robust cabling. The system that was quoted to us is replacing the cabling and the speakers. We've got, I think 80 or 90 speakers in the building. And it came in at $15,000. And I almost fell out of my chair. And so we'll be getting some more quotes for sure. I think we need to look at if we just replaced what's in the IT closet, kept the existing speakers and wiring, and tried to do it that way. So here's hoping, fingers crossed, we can get a better quote.
Wendy, do we
yeah.
need to have a PA system as opposed to 100 Alexas around where you can make an announcement through Alexa to say the library is closing in 15 minutes? Just wondering.
Yes, because the police dispatch uses our system to announce if they do it mostly for weather issues. So if there's a tornado, we need to go to the basement.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any way around it. As we start to talk to vendors, I'm certainly going to ask. At City Hall, they get away with just using the phone system. But because we've got so many large areas without phones, we just don't have phones. And if you're in an office environment, everybody's got a phone on their desk, then you can kind of hear it from wherever you are. But when you're out on the floor, I think that's not safe for the public. But we will certainly ask if there are other options, because running more cables through the ceiling seems like a ridiculous amount of work. So I will keep you posted. I'm not happy with this quote. I'm sure it's probably a better system, but I don't think that's an investment that we want to make. Who knows what I'll learn in the process, and maybe I'll change my mind later. We'll see. But that's definitely not happening this year. So that's going to be a 2021 project. It's not in the CIP. I didn't think it would be that expensive, so we'll have to figure out how that's going to work as well. I do think the good news is that as I'm working through the budget, my predictions for the budget for the end of the year, it's looking, we've had that outreach librarian position open for most of the year, so we're going to have some significant savings. I think we'll put between $100,000 and $150,000 into fund balance. I think we're not probably going to be able to spend the entire collection budget this year, just because we had people off, and to be honest, publishing schedules are very off. A lot of things that we thought were coming out were not. So we're doing the best we can to spend it, but we're probably not going to get there. And we did get some reimbursement for money that we put into Overdrive earlier this year, so that we could have more ebooks for people when we closed. That got reimbursed, so our collection budget actually went up $6,000. So we're going to have some money there. So I think if we had to pay $15,000, we will have the money and we would be able to. That doesn't mean I want to, but we'll see. And that, I think, is everything. Did you all see my email from Toby had asked last month about the line on the statistics about library cards? And that's in the outreach section. We don't track library cards that we do in the building because we're in a consortium, so they get made in different places. So I just wanted to make sure everybody saw that. Our curbside numbers, our checkout numbers are up. They're not what they normally would be. As I say every month, this is not normal, but things are going as well I think it's going to be expected. I just got an email today that I have not had time to kind of parse through, but from the Department of Public Instruction about how we're going to try to count online programming views for the annual report. So I feel like that's going to be real complicated because everybody kind of posted their programming in different places. We had ours in a private Facebook group for a long time because that's what the publishers were instructing. I don't think many other libraries did that. I think we probably hurt ourselves in views by doing that, but I still think it was the right thing to do. We did eventually make the decision to take it out just to our main Facebook page, which seems to be going just fine. But yeah, so the annual report will be very interesting when it comes time for that. That'll start in January. And that's all I think I have for my report.
All right, thank you, Wendy. We can move on to item 9, committee reports, 9A, strategic planning.
I'll give a quick update on the Ripple project. So we've had a couple of meetings. We had a survey that all of the staff were asked to take, and they extended that a couple of different times to make sure as many people could take that as possible. And then we had kind of a review of the results from the consultant, from Cream City Consulting. There weren't a whole lot of surprises in the results. And this is all of the libraries in Dane County together. It showed that we're a very white staff, we're a very female staff. I think what I took heart in is that everybody, like, there's a very high response rate of knowing that we need to look at equity going forward. I think what made me the happiest is that the rate of people who consider what we do important was through the roof. The consultant even commented on that, like, people really believe in what we do here, and are happy to be doing this kind of work. So that was great. And obviously some opportunities with diversifying staff. I think we also saw some results of having a lot of part-time staff, which I think affects people's kind of satisfaction. I think it's hard when you're putting multiple part-time jobs together without health insurance. That can be frustrating. So I think we saw a little bit of that, which I think we also saw when we did our staff in service. We did a feedback exercise and asked some questions about the pandemic, but also just about the library and job satisfaction. And I am going to share those with you before our January meeting, because I think that might affect our discussion on engagement. So I just want everybody to see what we've already asked and kind of what the comments were, if that's all right. Okay. That's all for strategic planning.
All right. How about 9B, facilities?
Oh, I should have saved my PA discussion for facilities. Sorry.
Can move right on to 9C if nothing else on facilities.
So personnel, we have filled the 2 positions that we had open. So one of them went internally to a shelver, is going to be promoted to an LA1, and one of them is going to be external, and they will be starting in the first couple of weeks of January. We did all of our interviews by Zoom this time, and it worked out great.
Anything else, Wendy?
Nope, that's it.
All right, we'll move on to item 10 and 10A, just the announcements. Our next meeting, January 20th. Same time, same place, right here on Zoom.
Yep.
And that takes us then to item number 11, and we can adjourn, but I will need a motion to adjourn, please.
I will second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Okay, motion is passed. Thank you all very much. Happy holidays, and
Yes, you too.
in 2021.